The hero and the Demon King have been in a 15-year war between the human and demon worlds. The hero is just a regular-looking warrior from the main human nation. He really wants to stop the war for good. If he and his friends can beat the Demon King, the war will end, and everyone in the human world will be happy. But now, as they go into the demon world, the hero goes into the Demon King's castle all by himself. He's not scared and walks carefully, looking out for hidden monsters and traps. Finally, he gets to the end of the castle and is shocked to see that the Demon King is a hot woman with red hair. She tells him that she's the 43rd Demon King and even shows him an emblem near her boobs to prove it. But the hero doesn't believe her and gets his sword ready to beat the woman. But she playfully chats with the hero and says she's been waiting for him all this time. The Demon King proudly declares that she will make the hero hers. She's surprised by his refusal. He explains that he must defeat her to end the war, but she persists, suggesting that they could win the war together if he joins her. She clarifies the reasons behind the war, emphasizing its benefits for the central nation. She presents a scroll detailing how the war unites all humans against demons and brings wealth to the central nation. This enables the wealthy to indulge in festivities while poorer countries face famine and poverty. The Demon King invites the hero for tea, continuing her efforts to persuade him to join her. As they relax with a cup of tea, the Demon King introduces a special lamp that can reveal thoughts, using memories and imagination to help the hero understand. Holding the lamp, they are transported to the hero's childhood memory, where a younger hero, dressed like a prince, attends a party for wealthy people. The Demon King explains that the war is crucial for affluent people like them, funding their lifestyle. However, she points out that ending the war immediately would leave the less fortunate without enough to eat. The hero begins to believe her, grappling with the conflicting nature of human beings. While lost in thought, the Demon King takes back the lamp, and they find themselves on a boat surrounded by beautiful scenery. She shares her dream of exploring what lies beyond the green hills, and the hero expresses his desire to see it too. For the first time, human and demon find a common goal and agree to collaborate. They face the challenge of making their plan work without announcing it publicly, as both humans and demons would oppose the alliance. The Demon King is afraid that such an announcement would lead to more bloodshed, so they decide to work together covertly. They create a contract declaring themselves equals in this mission to avoid drawing unnecessary attention. The duo begins their adventure by using a gate that connects the two worlds, traveling to the human world. The hero teleports them to Winter's Past village, where they intend to execute their plan of educating the people and providing a reliable food source. The village appears small and impoverished, and no one recognizes them. The hero questions the choice of this village, but the Demon King explains that starting small will make it easier to conceal her identity rather than going directly to the capital. In their new life, the Demon King poses as a noblewoman lecturer named Crimson Scholar, residing in a villa with the hero. However, the head maid, from a distance, calls out to the Demon King by her title despite their attempts to hide their true identity. She also notes that the relationship between the two seems more like that of a married couple than just business partners. The pair decides to reside in a large villa, with the head maid looking after their requirements. The Demon King shares that she has known the maid since childhood and praises her skill in maid duties. She instructs the maid to spread a rumor that they had a serious fight, and both were badly injured. This strategy is meant to buy them more time to carry out their mission in the small village. The head maid clarifies that the locals know the Demon King as the daughter of a noble family who is there to conduct agricultural research in the region. Given her experience in farming, the task will appear straightforward to the villagers. Later that night, the Demon Knight guides them outside to assess the state of the village agriculture. She explains that using the soil effectively in a cold and poor country can provide food throughout the year. Despite having an incredible plan to help the people, they visit the village the next morning, only to face rejection from the village elders. Disheartened, the three return to the villa, realizing that their plan didn't unfold as expected. As they prepare to retire for the night, they hear a mysterious sound from outside. Rushing towards the source, they discover two weak and filthy young girls. The sisters, victims of poverty, sought refuge at the villa after their homes were burned due to the scarcity of food. The head maid explains that these children, land servants from a nearby country, often try to hide in villas. Previously, she used to report them to the authorities, but the hero and Demon King stopped her this time. The Demon King, instead of reporting them, instructs the head maid to prepare food and find proper clothes for the kids. The older sister, wary of being caught again, expresses her hope that they won't be reported to the authority. The head maid, eavesdropping on their conversation, dismisses them, likening them to bugs incapable of navigating their own lives. Feeling guilty, the older sister asks the head maid to teach them how to be more human. Moved by their determination, the head maid decides to take them in as new maids for the mansion, imparting worldly knowledge. In her first lesson, she shows the elder sister how to make requests by holding her skirt and giving a proper bow. As the sun rises, the hero and the younger maid, who had just served him a meal, venture out together to find food. Along the way, they talk about their training and dreams. The hero begins to feel uncertain, realizing that being skilled with a sword may not be sufficient for a peaceful life after the war. Meanwhile, the Demon King is immersed in giving the villagers an economics lesson. Her students include the older maid, a local trader, and an eager young noble. They discuss the financial implications of the crusade.
Oh shit!
An ambitious effort by the Central Nations to drive out all demon tribes and end hostilities. The hero consoles her for what she perceives as a failed lecture as they walk together in the rain. During their walk, he reflects on everything she has accomplished so far. They eventually stop at the village elder's house, where she unveils a mysterious box that will serve as their secret weapon. Months pass since the two began their life in the village, and the crops are starting to flourish, bringing great joy to the locals. Returning from the field, the hero and Demon King discuss the events of the past months, including the hero accidentally destroying the field due to his inability to control his strength. They also talk about the two sister maids, who are starting to fit in with the other villagers and students, leaving them satisfied with the progress they've made. They advance to the next phase of their plans and teleport to Lake Country, a less frigid nation than Winter's past village, discussing the influence of the church in the teachings of this world. They consider using it to promote agricultural practices more rapidly. Approaching the local convent, a woman with yellow hair introduces herself as the prioress of the country. The two introduce themselves as the Crimson Scholar and the White Swordsman. However, the prioress recognizes them because she is none other than the female knight, one of the hero's original companions. Out of anger for the hero leaving them to fight the Demon King alone, she slaps him. The Demon King quickly fabricates a story, claiming that he wounded the enemy and had to retreat for safety. Currently, he rests while accompanying her on her missions. The prioress updates them on recent news about the hero, starting with the Human King declaring him dead. His companions went their separate ways. The female knight declined the reward money offered by the authorities and returned to the convent to help the people in her own way. The archer accepted the money and worked for an intelligence group in the southern countries, while the mage followed the hero to the demon realm with her own companions, and their whereabouts were unknown. After catching up on recent news, the Demon King finally reveals to everyone that their secret weapon is actually potatoes. She discusses how potatoes could solve world hunger in their case and even provides a free sample to demonstrate their taste. While fully supporting the Demon King's potato idea, the female knight informs them that they have no money to fund the project. Undeterred, they propose to the convent not for monetary support, but to teach about agriculture in Winter's past village. They believe that more people will listen to the convent than the Crimson Scholar due to the church's influence. The female knight agrees, and they start preparing immediately. On the way home, the two discuss how complex the economics of their plan is. She explains that convincing the southern countries, directly controlled by the king, will be challenging as a mere scholar in the night. However, she has already made contact with their alliance, a group of leaders from the southern countries, by selling them the most advanced technology known to man, the compass. Surprisingly, the alliance sees the compass as a threat to their nation's security. Upon returning home, the hero prepares to leave immediately to search for the mage in the demon realm. Although the Demon King is obviously jealous of the many women he is close to, she still understands his intention. She gives him a list of helpful demons in full armor to protect him on his journey, bidding him farewell with the promise to return soon. Months pass since the hero went on his journey, and the Demon King prepares to meet the merchants from the Alliance for the first time since she provided them with the compass. While the maids assist her in getting ready, the female knight trains her students for combat outside the villa. Both women seem frustrated due to the hero's absence for almost 6 months. The two Alliance merchants finally arrive at the villa, but it becomes apparent that they have malicious plans for this negotiation. The blonde merchant does most of the talking, while the one with glasses appears to communicate with their assassins outside the villa, prepared to attack the Demon King if negotiations take a terrible turn. Unbeknownst to the merchants and the assassins, the head maid uses her demon powers to summon ghosts around the area and report any suspicious movements, including those of the assassin. The negotiations begin, and instead of potatoes, the Demon King presents corn this time. She tries to sell the idea of how corn is more suitable in the northern countries, offering an agricultural edge to the Alliance. Despite her sales talk, the blonde merchant ridicules her, believing that the war will only end if the humans win. The guy with glasses signals the assassins to prepare for an attack, and the ghosts signal the head maid to get ready too. However, the Demon King manages to de-escalate the situation by showing humility. The merchants finally understand the importance of farming corn and bind the contract with her. As they prepare to leave, they ask her why she sells ideas instead of vegetables. She answers that she does it out of love, which amuses and even interests the glasses guy. In a joking manner, he proposes to her, but she outright rejects him. The Demon King continues her work until late at night, assisted by the head maid and her ghosts. She is burdened not only by the paperwork for her mission but also by the absence of the hero. While he occasionally writes letters, it's not enough for someone who loves him so much. Unbeknownst to her, the hero returns to the villa. He writes letters, regains his strength, but hides from her because she would be upset if she finds out about the danger he frequently encounters in his adventures. The head maid discovers his presence, and he explains that he expected more action when he agreed to help the Demon King. So far, all they did were economics classes and farming, and this lifestyle isn't enough for him. He keeps these details secret for now, but the head maid reminds him that he is still under a contract with her master, so he should consider her feelings too. The hero continues his journey clad in the armor gifted to him by the Demon King, and his first quest is to gather more information about the upcoming war by the holy capital against the demons of Aurora Island. He settles in a nearby town and enters its local tavern, where he discovers that the demons in the area are mistreated by humans. In a local tavern, a tall human warrior harasses a blue demon waitress. The hero intervenes just in time, saving her from the harassment. After the hero's intervention, he allows her to rest, and she reveals that humans in that region mistreat almost all demons because their species lost in the local conflict. This angers the righteous hero, who asserts that winning the fight doesn't give humans the right to harm demons. The demon waitress continues talking with him and imparts valuable information on how to infiltrate the northern countries through Gateway City. Considering how the Demon King might use this intel, the hero travels with the demon girl to a nearby temple. Although the temple seems barren and full of debris, they still search for more information. Suddenly, nearby shouting shocks them, and the noise originates from a demon cursing humans for abusing their species. This deepens the hero's anger at the rich people in the nations for allowing such discrimination to happen. Back in the Winter Village, the female knight is called back for duty to become a commander in the war, following casualties and the Winter King's death during the Aurora Island expedition. Realizing this may be their final chance to talk casually, she confesses to the female knight about her true identity. The female knight, not shocked by the confession, forgives her for lying, emphasizing that being a demon is not a sin. The next day marks an entire year since the hero's departure, and the Demon King visibly misses him. The maids try to cheer her up with gifts like perfume and a chibi hero doll. Despite talk of going to the New Year festival later that evening, the Demon King chooses to rest at the villa. Alone in her thoughts on her bed that night, the hero catches her by surprise upon his sudden return. Expecting a warm hug, she greets him with a full-force pillow swing that throws him across the room. She snaps at him for not making an effort to see her all this time, but he explains that he's been busy with their mission. Amidst their argument, the tension disappears after the festival music fills the air. The hero invites her to dance under the moonlight, and they enjoy the festival inside. The Demon King relishes her time with the hero once more. After the festival, the hero prepares to embark on another journey. The Demon King bids him farewell, mentioning that the next time they'll see each other will be on the battlefield. The women at the villa also start preparing for war, and the curious older maid asks the Demon King why wars happen. She answers that conflict is part of human nature, akin to love and hate, but the maid believes that war isn't as simple. Their discussion is cut short when the other maid reports their preparations, prompting the Demon King to share her plan to travel to Aurora Island and meet with the others. She arrives at the southern country's stronghold, where she is welcomed by the new Winter King, the Archer, and the female knight. Together, they strategize ways to infiltrate Aurora Island. The Demon King surprises them with a mountain load of salt, suggesting that they can use it to connect the glaciers and form a bridge to the island. The soldiers follow orders and gather as many glaciers as possible to create an ice bridge, advancing towards the demon territory. As they charge ahead, hordes of demons, including jumping sharks and giant squids, defend their island. Despite a fierce battle, the demons ultimately lose. Following their victory, the leaders regroup to plan the next day's attack. Unexpectedly, a group of allied soldiers teleports to the other side of the battlefield, aided by the hero who successfully infiltrated the Gateway City during the ongoing war, threatening the Crusades with his magical prowess. He fights on the front line with the others. Teleporting to the stronghold, he rejoins the Demon King and her companions, continuing the war against the demons. As the humans overpower the demons, the Demon Ice General finally reveals himself as a strong and humongous talking walrus. The female knight engages in battle with the walrus through sheer strength and elemental magic, creating ice shards and flying rocks as they brawl. Despite the walrus's attempts to strike her, she quickly rushes along his arm and delivers the final blow in one clean slash. With the leader of Aurora Island defeated, the humans cheer as they reclaim the territory, opening more trade routes to the southern nations. Returning home, they celebrate their victory at the Winter Kingdom through an elegant feast. The king declares Aurora Island a new human territory, thanks to the great strategizing of the two ladies. Behind the castle, away from the party, the hero enjoys the serenity of the sea-filled air. The archer approaches him by surprise, and they talk about the time lost when the hero left his companions to fight the Demon King alone. The archer understands his fear for his companion's safety and assures him that he doesn't need to carry the burden of being a hero alone anymore. Months pass since the successful reclamation of Aurora Island, and the hero and Demon King briefly enjoy a peaceful life at the villa. However, it still gets rowdy at times, especially when the female knight pays them a visit. The hero spends his afternoons with the female knight, engaging in sparring sessions to practice their sword skills and discussing future plans now that the war seems to be coming to an end. During these conversations, he recounts his journey experiences, including witnessing maltreated demons in human settlements, indicating that the war is far from over as long as demons suffer in the world. Returning inside the villa, the younger maid surprises the hero with a medieval Fanta soda, urged by the Demon King to try it. The Demon King commends the maid's growth over the years and how they have finally become full-fledged maids. They also discuss the upcoming Gateway City Council, where influential leaders from different nations gather to talk about their governments and enjoy a lively festival afterward. The hero mentions that he will attend the event as the Black Knight to represent the Demon King, having already encountered leaders supporting demon rights in their respective nations, such as the Dragon Princess. At the council, seemingly uneventful, the hero and the Eastern General enjoy a small picnic on the city's outskirts. However, their enjoyment is cut short when they encounter the Dragon Princess and the blue demon the hero saved before. Before they can talk properly, the ground violently shakes, reaching as far as the villa. The Demon King comments that it might be time to return to the demon realm again. Sometime after the incident, the hero, the Demon King, and the older maid travel to an advanced nation to find something to aid their mission. As they begin training the older maid beyond her usual duties, having already taught her classroom education, they focus on practical skills by exploring cities outside their hometown. During their exploration, they stumble upon a printing press, a state-of-the-art machine that allows them to send bulk messages without the hassle of manual writing. Satisfied with their findings, they return home. The Demon King approaches the female knight about something that has been troubling her recently. It turns out she needs to return to the demon realm for a few months to renew her title as the king. Since she will be joined by the head maid on this journey, she has been intensively training the older maid more than ever. Daybreak arrives, and the Demon King prepares for her long journey ahead. Before she departs, she gifts the older maid a magical ring capable of transforming her appearance in case of an emergency. The hero escorts her and the head maid to the gateway between worlds, where they bid farewell once more. In the demon realm, the Demon King returns to her castle, where the head maid awaits her arrival. She recounts encountering the mage on her way back home. Together, they proceed deeper into the dungeon under the castle, where the Demon King must complete the ritual to renew her title as king. She notes that the earthquakes in the human world may be caused by the restless souls of the ancient Demon Kings. To calm them down, she must unseal their souls, even at the expense of losing herself to them. The head maid reassures her that she'll do just fine. Some time has passed since the two traveled to the demon realm, and the older maid journals about their life in the human world during their absence. She notes how the female knight still visits them occasionally, and how the Winter King has begun addressing issues of discrimination and corruption in the city. Her journaling is cut short when a mysterious figure approaches the villa, revealing itself to be the blonde merchant again. The younger maid attends to him, trying not to mess up in front of the guest, until the older maid, disguised as the Demon King, enters to greet him. The merchant senses that something is different about her, but the hero intervenes before anything escalates. He orders the older maid to leave and talks to the merchant alone. They notice how both of them have grown compared to their first meeting, with the hero no longer easily manipulated, and the merchant having a more respectable upbringing nowadays. Discussing past interactions, the hero collects his long overdue celebration from the merchant after his return. They teleport to a place with colored lights in the sky, shocking the merchant with teleportation magic. Even more surprising is that they're in the demon realm, where humans and demons can coexist in the nearby Gateway City. The hero reveals that he represents demons in formal events and offers the merchant the entire Gateway City, envisioning a world where humans and demons coexist, bringing prosperity and money. After a banquet and revelry, they continue their conversation about demons. The hero reveals that he desires someone in power to see the human and demon worlds differently. Returning home after the banquet, the hero is surprised by the female knight's sudden arrival. After much thinking, She offers to become the hero's personal knight during the Demon King's absence, realizing that the Demon King brought prosperity to the nation through intelligence and determination alone. Initially rejecting the offer, the hero sees her determination and officially appoints her as his knight. Inside the villa, the two maids showcase their culinary talents. However, their gathering is interrupted when the Winter King visits, revealing that the Holy Capital is arresting the Demon King, labeling her a heretic for her potato propaganda. Angered by the church's malicious intent, the female knight suggests a loophole, disguising the older maid as the Demon King and having her arrested outside the Winter Country. Though not entirely on board with the decision, they have limited options with short notice. The hero, along with the two maids, prepares to leave in the dead of night while the others ponder what the future holds. The older maid and the rest of the team arrive at the Winter Country, where the king provides them with a place to rest while they await the Demon King's arrest. Outside, they can hear the people clamoring, protesting that the Demon King is a gentle soul who taught them how to have food for years to come. The older maid reflects on the blessings she received from the village ever since they took her and her younger sister in as maids, acknowledging how a mere servant like her had a wonderful life through their aid. Their meeting is cut short when the city bell tolls, signaling the arrival of the messenger from the capital. It's finally time for the Demon King to face her so-called sins. The older maid is left to prepare, following their plan, and tearfully readies herself as she disguises herself once again as the Demon King. They proceed to the plaza, where the disguised older maid is handed over by the Winter King to the stage. There, the messenger and his lackeys verify her identity. The clever disguise successfully fools the messenger, and they detain her with a wooden cuff, leading to murmurs among the citizens who believe she'll be stoned for her supposed deeds. The act of repentance begins, and the older maid is publicly whipped, grunting in pain. However, instead of cheering in support of the church, the people pity the poor woman and start questioning the morality of those in power. Even the king wants to help her, but his companions stop him to avoid derailing their original plan. Summoning her remaining strength, the older maid delivers a speech in front of the plaza, sharing her life story as a servant treated like a bug due to her lowly status. She had a hard childhood with sickness and abuse, but she and her younger sister survived. The Demon King made her feel important, and now she wants to tell everyone, whether rich or poor, bosses or workers, not to do things just because they're told. Following orders without thinking makes people like bugs. Inspired by her speech, the people protest against the messenger's public humiliation of her, ultimately stoning him and his lackeys. The king and the female knight back the people up, protecting her from the attempted execution and proclaiming the Demon King a saint for her selfless efforts. The defeated messengers warn that all followers of the Demon King's teachings will face the wrath of their god in due time. Back at the Winter King's castle, the team discusses recent events, realizing they are now the public enemy number one of the capital for defying the church's teaching. The hero, feeling confused, asks for a summary, and they strategize their next move. They begin by liberating the Winter Country, freeing servants from their status and building a new church for followers of their mission, using the paper and printing press retrieved through the Demon King's efforts. They spread news about the ongoing changes in the country to other nations, eventually reaching the blonde merchant and the rest of the alliance. Inspired by this, the merchant plans something mischievous to challenge the capital, creating a new currency against the current one, shaking the world economy. This leads to inflation and problems in food supplies as richer people stockpile food and refuse to spend money until things settle down, affecting local markets, with essentials like wheat and potatoes now sold as luxury items. News about the rising prices reaches the Winter Country, shocking its inhabitants. They believe that someone else is meddling with the authorities, and if the northern countries continue to face economic problems, it could lead to an all-out crisis, dragging the southern countries, including them, into the chaos. The hero and the kingdom receive an official declaration of war from the capital for their heretic actions. The war is set to begin in 10 days, and the hero, anxious about the potential destruction and bloodshed, urges the king to keep casualties to a minimum in line with the Demon King's desires. Meanwhile, in the demon realm, the Demon King is just about to finish her renewal. The head maid patiently awaits her outside the chamber, reflecting on past memories that detail the renewal process involving possession by past Demon Kings. There is a possibility that these ancient demons could overtake her body, causing her to lose herself. Struggling to maintain her identity, the Demon King tries to remember the plan she shared with the hero but ultimately submits to the possession of Demon Kings. Back in the human world, the hero and the team begin implementing their strategy for the upcoming war while trying to minimize casualties. However, they are suddenly informed that a horde of blue demons is approaching their nation. The female knight questions whether the Demon King is involved, but the hero assures her that this is an unexpected and separate issue. He shares his plan to survey the demon horde and devise a way to steer them away. flying immediately to the snowy demon territory. The hero reflects on the contract he made with the Demon King to witness a world where humans and demons coexist peacefully. As he arrives at the scene, he establishes a telepathic link with the Demon King, who informs him that she is in grave danger in the demon realm. She instructs him to use his strongest magic to destroy the gate connecting the two worlds and guide him through the process. Along the way, they continue with their plan, and the mage casts a teleportation spell to divert the blue demons away. The hero brings down a powerful lightning spell to clear the area, directs him to fly towards the gate's hole. But as he approaches, he discovers that the demon realm is directly connected to the human world and not a separate dimension. He wastes no time and flies to the Demon King's castle, following the mage's instructions on her whereabouts. Back at the castle's deepest dungeon, the worn-out Demon King awakens from her slumber and greets the head maid. However, the head maid senses something sinister radiating from her master. The Demon King reveals that her body is now possessed by the collection of all past kings known as the Evil King. The head maid attempts to strike her down using her ghost assistant, but the Evil King quickly deflects the attack and engages in battle. The head maid curses the possessed king for taking away her master's life, emphasizing how she's a brilliant and caring king unlike them. The Evil King, in response, snarks at her for being a low-class demon. The Evil King slashes her in one heavy swing, cleanly cutting off her arm and causing the maid to scream in agony. At the nick of time, the hero smashes through the ceiling, arriving to confront the Evil King. The head maid warns him that the woman he's looking at is no longer the Demon King he knows. The Evil King summons a scythe and attacks him head-on, forcing him to struggle to keep his stance, attempting to snap the Demon King out of the soul's possession. The hero talks to her, reminding her of the people who admire her in the human world and await her return. However, he is overpowered by the Evil King's lightning magic. In a desperate move, the hero escapes the dilemma by blinking out of their standstill and hugs the possessed Demon King, causing the soul of the real Demon King to resurface and drive her ancestors out of her body. The two share a brief and heartfelt reunion, and the hero heals the head maid's injuries while reattaching her arm using magic. He then reports the progress of their companions in the human world. With the Demon King back to her true self, they decide to do their part in the demon realm. The citizens of the demon realm and the Gateway City cheer for the return of their king, and she assures them that they will always be safe under her leadership and guidance. The hero, under the guise of the Black Knight, shows off by throwing a massive spirit bomb toward the mountains, inspiring the demons who believe that they can finally defeat the humans with this kind of power. The Demon King tries to change her people's minds about humans, but not one soul hears her. The hero reassures her that they will change their minds slowly but surely. Exhausted, the three return home, where the older maid awaits their arrival to report more about the current state of affairs. Apparently, the two maid sisters encountered an enemy from the crusade while using the printing press, just as they were about to be harmed by the evil man. They were saved by one of the Demon King's students who had become a soldier. The older maid also briefs them about the ongoing partnership between the Alliance and the Winter Country, with plans to help both humans and demons while defying the capital's attempts in the war. Later that day, the female knight reports back to the Demon King and mentions her and the king's efforts in ensuring that the war will go according to plan. She ends their discussion by welcoming her friend back to the human world. They later celebrate the return of the three with a grand feast, laughing and enjoying a peaceful time for them. First in a while, as the party ends and others turn in for the night, the Demon King chats with the head maid about how the older maid went from being a servant to becoming the symbol of hope for the people. Her determination and life story moves the Demon King to tears as she is amazed by the humans' ability to bounce back from anything, ending their talk by saying that she really enjoyed living with the humans. Thanks for tuning into our anime escapade. If you love the anime vibes, hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay tuned for more anime goodness. Until next time, keep riding the otaku wave. See you in the next one.